floor is now open. The Honorable Judge Stan Strickland, Judge presiding. You may be seated.
All right, is everybody here? All right, this is Mr. Baez, your emergency motion to preserve or inspect evidence of participated forensic testing. Why don't you go ahead? First of all, is everybody here? Has everybody been noticed? We have the state attorneys here. Anybody here for the county?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, and any other necessary parties?
Your Honor, I represent the Sheriff's Office.
Okay, all right, thank you. Go ahead, sir.
Good morning, Your Honor. Jose Baez on behalf of Casey Anthony. First off, I'd like to, if I may approach with four of my co-counsel out there by motion for Roa Piche, which I provided counsel with a copy. My co-counsel, Ms. Kenny Bodden, will be covering some of the forensic aspects of my motion. First off, we're here in reference to the possible preservation and testing of evidence. And if Your Honor recalls, we have a current order as it relates to DNA. And due to the possible findings that occurred yesterday, we believe, due to preservation of evidence issues, that it would be important that the court address these matters as to our ability to inspect certain areas, specifically the crime scene or alleged crime scene. In addition to that, we're also referring to the autopsy and any future DNA testing. I'm going to go ahead and defer to my co-counsel to lay out specifically for the court exactly what it is that we'd like to cover.
Your Honor, if I may, I have an emergency motion that does not refer to anything about a crime scene. Is there a subsequent motion that I have not seen?
No, this doesn't refer to the crime scene.
Oh, okay. I just want to make sure I haven't missed something.
No, it does not, and we're not going to discuss the crime scene. This has to do with DNA testing and the autopsy. And preservation of evidence, which I would expect would happen in any event.
Of course.
But go ahead, counsel, whichever of you want to speak on the motion.
Good morning, Judge. Thank you very much for your courtesies in allowing my Roa Piche admission here. I'd like to cover specifically the autopsy, and I have read the state's response that they served on us this morning.
Which I don't have. Is there a response?
That's Orange County's response, not
Orange
the
County.
state.
I apologize.
Yeah. Thank you. I'm sorry. Go ahead, counsel.
Yeah, thank you, Your Honor. But in any event, at least we worked that out. One of the lead things, obviously, that we read, and obviously Your Honor, seen no secret, that there was a missing a body of a child that was found. Right now, the body, we assume, is still in the possession of the medical examiner's office from the reports. One of the things that we want, and it can be either or, Your Honor, and we're going to leave it to your discretion, but we want to make sure that our clients' interests are protected, is to have somebody observe, and it has been done in Florida before, observe the autopsy for the defense. And let me just say, in regard to that, Your Honor, we understand that this is a very serious proceeding, and we wouldn't want to have anyone fly by night. And so we are in the process right now, and she is on a plane from Montreal flying Dr. Kathy Reichson, who is a world-renowned forensic anthropologist. And the reason why we took that step is from the news media reports that the remains that were found may have been partially skeletonized. We think that in order to be able to properly defend our client, it would be important to see the body in situ at the medical examiner's office, not to interfere with anything the medical examiner is doing, but to have our anthropologists and also, preferably, a medical examiner. We have Dr. Werner Spitz on call, who is one of the senior people in the field of forensic pathology, both in the United States and the world. Again, to observe the autopsy, to see what information that may be beneficial for due process purposes, to see and maybe even suggest other things that may be done that may be helpful, because science, which is part of the autopsy, should be open to everybody. I know Your Honor has not talked about the crime scene, and before I do want to just touch upon it because it's not ripe yet because the crime scene hasn't been released, but we do expect to file a motion on that because we do have Dr. Henry Lee on call to come down with regard to that. But the other person that we'd like to bring in would be a Dr. Timothy Huntington from Nebraska. Dr. Huntington studied and learned and is a diplomat of the American Board of Forensic Entomology. He learned from Dr. Neil Haskell, who is also one of the world-renowned entomologists, and we understand with any skeletonized remains that would be important to see and observe any insect activity that exists now. The other alternative would be to ask the court, if you do not let us observe in situ the autopsy and the reports now, to leave the body at the medical examiner's office and let us come in at the medical examiner's office, and we would be glad to give access to the state to be with us, to have our experts then to do a second review of the body, both Dr. Spitz, Dr. Reichs, and also, as may be necessary, the forensic entomologist, a second review, and we'd be happy to, because we believe signs should be open, so we're not fearful of anyone watching, as long as there weren't videotapes taken, and we, of course, would agree to the same thing, that we wouldn't want videotapes taken. This is all an attempt to make sure that our clients' due process rights are protected, that we get the information sooner than not later, that we see the x-rays that are taken as the body is in the medical examiner's office, not maybe later after things have been done to it, in order to make sure that our clients' fair trial interests are protected. Now, I know Your Honor said you weren't going to discuss the crime scene, but I just want to put Your Honor on notice that we do have Dr. Lee, because one of the things that Mr. Baez was going to ask for is that perhaps after the state finish with the crime scene, finish what they're doing, is that they at least hold it for us so that we could be the first people in to see it. And again, they're welcome to come with Dr. Lee and our experts. So that the press isn't trampling in it, that we get to see it as pristine as possible.
Your Honor, may I object? The court's already indicated we're not here to discuss the issues about the crime
objection. I understand a motion will be filed.
Yes, the motion will be filed. Now, I'm just trying to give the court heads up regard to that, because that would probably be sooner than later, depending on when they're released. Because obviously, once they release the crime scene, there's
Your
no...
Honor, I just objected, and counsel is now proceeding on the matter, and I would ask the court to instruct counsel to limit her arguments to the motion before the court.
Let's continue on this motion.
Yeah, let's go on with the autopsy. Those are the two issues with regard to the autopsy. Either to have somebody observe the autopsy firsthand, which would be our preference, and again, not to interfere at all. And we're trying to bring people here that do have credentials, so that and that they're known by the people in the medical examiner's office. I think that Dr. Reichs needs no introduction. And secondly, if that is not amenable to the medical examiner, to ask the body to stay there and let our people come in the medical examiner's office to see the pictures, to see the x-rays, and to do a second review of the remains. Thank you, Your Honor.
Yes.
I would defer to the county, who's filed a response at first, and I'll speak after.
This is Ms. Gappen.
Yes, Your Honor. May it please the court. I'm Tammy Gappen, Assistant County Attorney. I represent the Orange County Attorney's Office and the Orange County Medical Examiner's Office. And it is the county filed its last-minute motion due to the last-minute motion filed yesterday. And the county's contention is that this issue is not ripe. The defense does not have standing to even make this motion, as the remains have not yet been identified. It's unknown whether the remains belong to that missing child, Kaylee Anthony. At this point, we don't know who that person is. There's speculation, of course. There's anticipation, of course. However, we don't have the scientific response saying who it is.
It occurred to me, once that's known, though, isn't it too late to grant their wish?
No, Your Honor, and here's why. They don't have standing, first, to bring that in. Second, Chapter 406 of the Florida Statutes is the Medical Examiner Act, and it establishes the medical examiner as the sole authority for determining which examinations, investigations, autopsies, and laboratory exams are necessary for each case involving the death of a human being. In the case like this with unidentified remains, the first priority of the medical examiner's office is to identify the body, and that's specified in Florida Administrative Code 11G-2.002, subparagraph 1. Also in the Florida Administrative Code under 11G-2.0021D.